Okay, solve the equation for x. Okay, the first problem we have, example 1. We have x minus 4 equals negative 6. So the x is on the left side. Now that minus make it plus negative. Now x is not multiplied or divided. There's no dot, there's no line, so I just circle the x. Okay. So I have to take that negative 4 to a 0, so I'd move forward 4, which means I'd add 4. So you have x and then negative 6 plus 4. Again, make the top numbers negative. You start at negative 6, then the operation is plus 4, negative 2. Okay, example 2. Negative 4x equals negative 44. So x is on the left side again. So if there's no sign between the number and the x, that means multiply. Okay. So anytime I have multiplication with the x, I want to circle the number in there too. So there's no number outside, okay, just the times negative 4. So if I do see times, I need to divide. Okay. So I underline each side, place a negative 4 underneath there. So x, negative 44 divided by negative 4 is positive 11. Okay. Okay, example 3. Again, here's how I would punch that in. I'd go negative 44 is my starting number, then I'd click divided by negative 4, and it's 11. Okay, next problem. We have x, negative 3, underlined equals 4. So the x is on the left side. Now the operation I have between the x and the negative 3 is divided by. So I want to be circling the divided by operation along with the x. Okay. See here I just circled x because it wasn't underlined, there was no dot. Here there was a dot, so I circled the dot number with it. If it's underlined, I circled the underlined number with it. There's nothing outside the circle on this side. That doesn't count. It's on the other side. So if I see divided by, I need to do the opposite. I need to times. So I put a dot on each side, and that negative 3 is what I multiply by. Okay. You can see that now cancels, and I now just have x by itself. And 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Okay, example 4. We have negative 3 plus 5x equals 12. So the x is on the left. Now what are your operations? You got plus, times. You want to circle the times part. So before you divide, you have to get this negative 3 to a 0. So you move forward 3. You add 3, and then add 3 to your 12. So I have 5 times x, 12 plus 3 is 15. Now about that dot, you need to do the opposite and divide. Because 5 times what number is 15? Well, I need to divide each side by 5. $15 divided by 5 is 3. Okay. Example 5. Negative 22 equals negative 8 plus 7x. Now this time the x is on the right. That's okay. Okay. You just fill in your operations on that side. So we have plus, then we have times. So we have to get the negative 8 to a 0. So I would need to move forward 8, so add 8. And then go to the other side of the equals and add 8 to that number. So line up your equals. On this side you start at negative 22 and you add 8. So negative 14. On the other side you have 7 times x still circling. Now in the circle, if I see times, I need to now divide. by the number multiplied by x, which would be 7. So you have x by itself over there, and then negative 14 divided by 7 is negative 2. Okay, example 6. 14 plus x divided by 10 equals 24. So between 14 and x we have a plus, x and 10 we have a division, so you want to circle the division. We got to get this 14 here to a 0, the number not part of the division. So minus 14, minus 14. So line up your equals. You have x divided by 10. 24 minus 14 is 10. Then if we have division, we have to times. Okay, so we put a dot on both sides, and we're going to take this 10 here. That will cross out, and we times the other side by 10. When I times this side by 10, I have to times that side by 10. X is now by itself. 10 times 10 is 100. Okay, next one, example 7. We have negative 9 equals x divided by negative 3 minus 6. So the x is on the right side. So we have divided by and minus. I don't like minus, make it plus negative. So you want to circle the divided by. If you have divided or multiplied by, you want to circle that. So take your negative 6 to a 0. You'd move forward 6, and that's 0. Then I move forward 6 from the negative 9. So I line up my equals, and I start at negative 9, and I plus 6. That's negative 3. And then x divided by negative 3. So we do the opposite of divide, which is times. Okay. Negative 3, negative 3. Now these will cancel, and I have x now by itself. Now over here, negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. So 9 is equal to x. Okay, example 8. X minus 9 plus 6x equals 30. Now I cannot make my wall yet because there's two x's. They are both on the same side. They're both on the left side, so I connect them with a V. Okay, so I write x down. I place a 1 here, and that has a 6. 1 plus 6 is 7. And then plus negative 9. And then 30. Now you can make your wall because you just have a single x term. Okay, when you have two different x terms, you need to say, okay, if they're on the same side, we make a V and we add. Place a 1 in front of it if there's no number there. If there's not a number there, you place a 1. Okay, now we have times 7 times x and plus negative 9. So we have to get the negative 9 to a 0. You'd move forward 9 and forward 9. So that would be 39. 30 plus 9, and then 7 times x. Okay, so we got times, we need to divide them by 7. Okay, 39 divided by 7. You can round that, you can write 5.5 or 5.6, just get it somewhere close when I get something like that. Okay, next page. Example 9. We have x plus 5 parentheses x minus 1 equals 7. Now first thing, if I have a parentheses, we're using 2 boxes. So you put a times dot right in front of your parentheses, so 5. You come write that down here twice. Then I put a 1 in front of the x, make the minus in the parentheses plus negative, circle the plus, and I'm distributing 5 to 1x and 5 to negative 1. So 1x, negative 1. So 5 times 1x, well I've got x, 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. So I line up my equals. That plus sign I carry down. And I've got 5x on one side, negative 5 on the other. Now cross out the parentheses and the 5. That's gone, but we still have this x here in front. Okay? And then 7. We didn't get rid of that. Okay, I don't make my wall yet. The reason I don't is because we have two different x's. They're on the same side of the equals, both on the left, so I connect them and write add. So that's a 5, that would be a 1. So I write x down, 1 plus 5 is 6, and then plus negative 5. There. Once I add them, they're gone, but I still have this negative 5 here, then 7. Okay, now I can finally make my dash line, because I have x, this is the only x, it's times by 6, and it has a 5, negative 5 being added. So we have to take the negative 5 to 0. We would add 5. I cross it out because it's 0. I've got 6 times x. 7 plus 5 is 12. So 6 times what's 12? Well, we need to divide, okay, by 6. 12 divided by 6 is 2, so x equals 2. Okay, next one. Need to change something on my sheet. Okay, we have example 10. We have 9x minus 6 minus 6x equals 6. So there's no parentheses like there was on this one, so I don't have to do that distributive property. But we can't make the wall because I've got two x's. So are they on the same side of the equals? Yep, they're both on the left. So I make my v and write add. Okay. So I write x down, 9 plus negative 6. Be 3x. Those have been added, and I have to remember we still have a negative 6, and over here we have 6. So now we can make our little dash line. We have times x and plus 3 times x plus negative 6. So you got to get the number not being times, you have to get that to 0. So to get from a negative to 0, you'd add 6. Then add 6 to 6. 6 plus 6 is 12. Then I underline each side, so I'm going to divide, okay, by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Okay, next problem, example 11. 5x minus 1 equals x plus 15. So it's a negative 1. Now look at your x's, okay? There's two of them, but we can't make that v because they're on the one on the left, one on the right. So I put a 1 on the one in front of the right and take that to a 0. So it's positive 1. So I need to subtract 1x, take it to 0, and then I go to the other side, minus 1x from 5. So 5 minus 1 is 4x plus the negative 1 and then 15. So now I can make my line because I have 4 times x plus negative 1. Get your negative 1 to a 0, you'd add 1. And then 15 plus 1 is 16. Okay. Then I underline each side and place my 4. Okay, 16 divided by 4 is 4. Example 12. 8 minus 2x equals 3x minus 2. Those minuses are adding negatives, okay? Plus negatives. So again, you can't make your wall because there's two x's, but I have one on the left, one on the right. They're not on the same side. So I'll pick the one over here and get that to 0. So I'm going to minus 3x because it's positive 0. Minus 3x from negative 2. Okay, so I've got I write x down and I take negative 2 minus 3. Okay. Negative 2 is the starting number, then next to that 3 we have minus 3, so it would be negative 5. Then I add the 8 and then negative 2. Now I can make the wall. So I have times and plus 8. So we have to take the 8 to a 0, we would subtract 8. So negative 5 times x. Then I'm starting with negative 2, and then in front of the 8 it says minus 8, negative 10. So negative 5. So line up your equals, you have x. So I take negative 10, and then the line means I need to tap the division key, and then negative 5, that's 2. Next, problems. We have 7 parentheses 6 minus 2x equals 5 parentheses negative 3x plus 1. Well, first we got to deal with the parentheses. So times, make sure you got a plus, negative, okay, and circle your plus. Same thing here. Times, you have the plus sign, and then 1. So the 7 is what I'm distributing here. So I write 7 down twice. First I'm going to times it by 6, then I'm going to times it by negative 2x. So 7 times 6, I would put the x down here. So 7 times 6 is 42. 7 times negative 2 is negative 14. So line up your equals, and on that side you write 42 plus negative 14x. And then the parentheses and the 7 are gone. Now I have another parentheses on this side with my 5. So before the plus we have negative 3x. After the plus we have 1. So I write x down here. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. 5 times 1 is 5. So I drop my plus down, and I have negative 15x on one side, and I have 5 under it. Okay, the parentheses are now eliminated, but we have two different x's. One on the left, one on the right. So take the one on the right to 0. So plus 15x and plus 15x to the 14x. So you write x down. And you need to start with negative 14, then the 15 has a plus in front of it, so plus 15, so it's 1. And then plus the 42. And then we have the 5. Now we can make our wall. So times 1 plus 42, so you have to get the 42 to a 0, so we minus 42, minus 42. So we have 1 times x, 5 minus 42, it's going to be negative 37. Then you can divide by your 1. Negative 37 divided by 1, that's going to be negative 37. Okay, and the last problem in the video. We have 3 parentheses x minus 5 equals 2 parentheses x plus 5. We have those darn parentheses again. So this parentheses is multiplied by 3. This parentheses is multiplied by 2. Okay, so what do we times it by? Well, let's make it plus negative. We have a 1. Okay, So I times 3 by 1x, and then 3 times negative 5. So I would have x, 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. So I drop the plus down, and on one side I have 3x, on the other side I have negative 15. So the parentheses and the 3 are gone. Nothing else is over there, so I move over here. Now we have our plus, we place a 1 in front, so it's 2 times 1x and 2 times 5. So the x factors here, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 5 is 10. So I line up the plus, and I've got 2x in front, 10 behind it. Okay, so we have x's, 2 of them, and 1 on the left, 1 on the right. So I take the 1 on the right to 0. It's positive 2, so to take that to 0, we would have to move backwards, which means subtract, and it goes away. Then I minus 2x from the 3x. So I write x down. 3 minus 2 is 1, plus the negative 15. And over here you just have the 10. If it's positive, you just put 10. Okay, now I can make my wall. 1 times x plus negative 15. So we have to get the negative 15 to 0. That would be forward. So plus 15 plus 15 to the 10. So 1 times x, 10 plus 15 is 25. And we can divide by 1. 25 divided by 1 is 25.